It's Bible Forum time. We are spending our time here on a Sunday evening live. We'd love for you to join us on our website or wherever you can. We hope in the near future to be broadcasting on Facebook. I think that's an easier format for people to get hold of. But we're looking tonight at what might actually be the end of Europe. Great Britain is set to pull the trigger on Brexit, the end of March 2017. This will put tremendous financial pressure on other nations, most of them poor, and on the edge of financial destruction. Germany's been carrying the weight, but she can't keep it up. France is making noises about following Great Britain. The rest are either bankrupt or they're teetering. Then there's the immigration issue. It's becoming a growing nightmare, difficult to cover up. If that's not enough, there's a growing anti-Semitism throughout Europe, coupled with a growing Russian aggression and expansion. And it's all moving westward and into the Mediterranean. If that's not enough, there's Turkey. The now president of Turkey, a man by the name of Erdogan, I don't think they pronounce the G. Anyway, keeps finding higher and higher titles that he has now to be elected to. A year ago, he was credited with being in a league with Mohammed. Last March, AKP, one of Turkey's political parties, lawmaker Yasin Aktay made a statement during a debate that Erdogan is one of the best people this country has ever seen. Aktay said, adding, "We say, Salli Allah, pray for Mohammed when we see him." He was reciting an Islamic phrase known as a salawat, used to salute and praise the Prophet Muhammad or to express allegiance to him. In Islam, Muhammad is not a mere man. He is the best of all God's creation. To equate someone to Muhammad is to say he is a god. Of course, Muhammad has claimed this for himself. Godhood, that is. At the same time, Israel is drawing closer to Russia, while Turkey is growing closer to Iran, which is ancient Persia. Syria, who's been in this bitter battle for years now, fired an S-200 missile, several of them, at Israeli Air Force planes just a week ago Thursday, making a significant escalation in the ongoing conflict between these two nations who are still technically at war. Both Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Defense Minister Lieberman have stated publicly that Israel will do whatever is necessary to prevent what they call game-changing weapons getting into the hands of this terrorist group. Israel confirmed the attack, which is quite surprising. She does not usually confirm or deny these things. The Arrow's first ever operational interception was the result of Syria's air defense forces launching a long-range S-200 missile in an attempt to shoot down Israeli planes. The Syrian retaliatory missile launch occurred when Israeli aircraft had passed into Israeli airspace and had now become a direct threat to civilian populations, meaning the rockets firing at the Israeli Air Force retreating from where they were. They were in Syria. They go in there and they mess around and stop those Muslims from tormenting Israel in the south. But they were already back across the border. And now if there was a plane shot down, innocent people would have been killed. Parts of the missile have been found in Jordan, which also forced Israel to issue an official explanation for the event. A new confidence on the part of Syria? Perhaps with their Russian counterparts. But Israel has already responded to the incident, threatening to destroy Syrian air defense systems should they try it one more time. In Revelation chapter 6, verse 5, we read, "And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, 'Come and see.' And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand." Revelation chapter 6 is the process sequence of events as the seals of the scroll that John had seen in heaven is open one after the other, and there are judgments being released. This is one of those judgments, a black horse. Verse 6, and I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and wine. Scholars have pointed to famine as being the black horse's illustration. But don't hurt the oil and wine, meaning the rich don't have a problem. It's everybody else. And when they had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, come and see. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse. And his name that sat on him was Death. And hell followed with him. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with sword, with hunger, with death, and with the beasts of the earth. This is a great tribulation time. And there's a great famine. And following that is tremendous death. Up to 25% of the earth's population. According to reports in daily papers, 50 children, aside from adults, are dying from hunger every day in Argentina. And yet, Argentina is a rich country. It was nicknamed the world's cereal attic. The people are dying of hunger in front of mountains of cereal. It was more than oil. It has more oil than any other nation on earth. In documentation, Amy Horowitz's latest short film contrasted Americans' view of socialism and Venezuelans' reality of socialism. I have just mixed my countries, Argentina and Venezuela. Now I'm not sure which country it's talking about. I know the oil is Venezuelan, and they are going through, as a socialist country, they're going through a tremendous upheaval as well. But the article really was about Argentina. In filming in Argentina, Horowitz found poverty and crime like he'd never experienced. He said, is great socialism this kind of life? Is this what it's really about? The death of poverty and hunger and extreme violence was shocking. He said, I've traveled to dangerous places before, Pakistan, Gaza, Jenin, I guess it's called, yet this was something different. He walked the streets alongside a man holding a club of some sort. And he asked him what it was, and he said he was looking for a dog or a pigeon or a cat to kill for food. And he kept saying over and over, I'm really hungry. One thin woman told Horowitz, I'm starving. Sometimes my body starts shaking because I'm sleepy or I'm hungry. When it comes to basic food items like sugar and milk, they aren't to be found. In order to get food, people wait in long lines so they have a chance at getting a bare minimum. A pregnant woman described an experience she had. I was in line yesterday since early in the morning, standing there since 2 a.m., and all I was able to get was a can of milk. Another woman whose turn to stand in line comes on Tuesday described what she has to endure to get food. I have to be there Mondays by 12 a.m., to sleep there overnight. I just wait to see if anything arrives and then see if I'm able to buy something. Aside from food shortages, socialist Venezuela has incredibly high crime rates and immense income inequality. When asked if socialism works, one man, no, because if it really worked, we wouldn't be in this kind of chaos. This is not the only countries that are facing this kind of situation. People who live in Cuba, another socialist country, have gone through the same sort of thing. What do you call socialism when it's not in South Central America or Cuba? Well, you call it progressivism. If it's in Russia, you call it communism. If you're in Iran, it's a religion. In Africa, it's called tribalism. Right now, there is a desperate need for food in South Sudan, Somalia, northeast Nigeria, Eritrea, and Kenya. And Yemen, even though it's not technically part of Africa, is being affected by many of the same factors that are crippling nations all over Eastern Africa. The United Nations says that more than 20 million people could die from starvation and disease if nothing is done. The United Nations was formed in 1945. The UN has just announced that we are facing this year the largest humanitarian crisis since the creation of the UN. How's that for social engineering? How's all that UN stuff working out for you? We're going to fix the problems of the world in a global society and an international government. Is this what the Bible is talking about when it talks about the rider on the black horse? The rider on the pale horse? It's describing a world struggling just to eat and just to stay alive. It's talking about a vital system totally collapsing. And doing so because of man's greed and ignorance, coupled with war. And physical, climactic, earthly kind of disturbances. But it's all coming about because of man's rejection of God and his principles. It's called the Great Tribulation. We're watching it crank up.